Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the awareness session on the FITIS Digital Excellence Awards 2021. My name is Shehan Kumar and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Federation of IT Industry in Sri Lanka. Thank you once again for accepting our invitation. There was a lot of buzz and a lot of people bombarded with so many inquiries after our launch last month. How can we apply? What are the categories that are available? Can we apply to one or more categories? Can we apply as an individual? Can we apply as an organization? So there were so many questions. So we decided as a team to organize this awareness session this afternoon. And to do that, we have invited a host of exciting and very interesting individuals who will talk about the different categories, the different areas that you can focus on for these Digital Excellence Awards. The Tokyo Olympics starts tomorrow. So I shared on social media today, let's go for the gold, right? So as you know, athletes, Olympians from all over the world are going for the gold tomorrow. Why not you in Sri Lanka go for the gold at the Digital Excellence Awards 2021? Right, so we have quite a few sessions lined up. So I will not take much time. I will move on to our first segment. First, we have Mr. Fairuz Habib, who will provide us an introduction to digitized customer experience, omni-channel experience, and assessment criteria. So Fairuz is a dynamic and experienced IT industry professional with a very good comprehension of the ICT industry with diversified interests. Fairuz has a track record of over 20 years of experience in the ICT industry. Currently, he acts as the senior business consultant at Cybersoft Private Limited. He's also the president of the FITIS software chapter, while he is also the project chairman of the Digital Excellence Awards and Conclave. He's the man behind most of the things that are happening today and that are happening with regards to the Digital Excellence Awards. So I would like to invite Fairuz to take center stage right now and provide us an introduction to digitized customer experience, omni-channel experience, and the assessment criteria. Over to you, Fairuz.
Thank you, Shahan. Thank you, everyone, for joining the session. Before I move on to the my specific area, omni-channel experience or the digitized customer experience, let me also set the expectation and the context for the session today. The FITIS Digital Excellence Award is insisted to recognize the business enterprises who are actually in the process of successfully transforming their digital transformation journey and to become an exponential organization. By keeping that in mind, we have come up with a theme called Transforming Enterprises from Industry 3.0 to 4.0. Now, FITIS has taken this responsibility to drive this concept of digitally transformation Sri Lanka. Now, I'm going to cover on this framework on this digitized customer experience. Before that, let me also give you a slight introduction to this framework. The FITIS maturity assessment framework, which will help you evaluate how you are currently performing across each of these competency. Now, major segments that we're talking about here: digitized customer experience, product and services, operation, and the organizations. Okay. Now, how we are going to determine when it comes to digitized customer experience, how you're going to determine your customer experience program and where you fall into the maturity stage, and then we will be providing you with the reviewed report from the evaluation, where you can use that as a benchmark to plan your progress towards your customer experience goal. This is the expectation, overall expectation on each segments that we are talking about here. Okay. Now, when it comes to customer experience, now what you're looking at is, as a leaders, you potentially how you see this customer experience and how you investigate on your customer experience platform to digitize or to help the organization to kickstart with your isolation of or the pockets of activities into your integrated platform of customer experience activities. Okay. Now, in this customer experience, as overall, what we expect was like the FITIS excellence strategy towards customer experience is to maximize the satisfaction and how you bring in the lifetime revenue from your customers, and having this digital interaction between your by having this digital interaction between your customers in the organization. And not only that, how every employees are dedicated to set their activities across this customer experience vision of the organization, and then the systematically how you're going to follow up with the customers to fix the problems, and which is uncovered through the various platform, the data you're gathering, and then how you make this ongoing improvement to the operational processes based on your customer insights you are gaining through the various platform. Now this platform, what you're looking at, where the digital customer experience platform, which should prioritize all businesses to become a digital business. That way you can participate in the digital economy by creating the customer experience and life cycle, and then you can focus on the sales, marketing, then the customer service, and through that you can build that loyalties and so on. Let's look at some of the areas where on this omnichannel experience expectation point of view. On this part, we are expecting the designing and implementation of 24/7 seamless consumer engagement process, where this utilizes all the touch points, which combines your customer experience data coming through the social media, support tickets and sales tickets and customer requests and so on. And through that, how do you make that actionable insight? Now, other area what you look at is the customer value centric thinking. Now, this customer value centric thinking is generally pioneered by the challengers or the tech startup companies. Now, if you look at the Alibaba, they came forward with they become the world's largest company in terms of market capitalization, where they have this billions of dollars of business in wide ranging of sectors, including retailing, e-commerce, online, cloud services, logistics, payment, and contents, and so on. So this way, they were able to come up with this model or the platform which helped them take that advantage over their competitors and bring in all sort of contents and all that to deliver that services. During this assessment process, what we are going to look at how organizations are systematically using the insight to identify the improvement or the identify the issues, and how they are going to improve the customer experience by investigating the data, and then how they apply those things into the workflow sort of approach in their customer experience journey. Next, we look at about the strategy, what sort of strategy which is the organizations are adopting, or what we expect out here. In this organizational strategy or the omnichannel strategy, we expect a wide enterprise-based formal strategy, how it is being driven from the top management, and how the leaders are personally demonstrating the new transformational behavior, and how the senior leaders have sufficient digital literacy to drive this transformation effort. And finally, we look at the how they demonstrate the disruptive capabilities or nonlinear ideation process, such as the transformational technologies, transformational processes, transformational ecosystems, and design thinking, and so on. Now let's look at some of the categories that we are evaluating. Now, when it comes to evaluation, it is a long and cumbersome process that we are going to do. I will also cover towards end of the session, but before that, I will just cover the levels that we are going to cover, as well as what the expectation from each level that we were expecting. Now, in terms of merit, we're looking at 4 levels. The organizations, how they should show the ability to that the build the digital technology, and how they are building the technology based on outcome based model, and and how they are trying to make an effort to build a digital ecosystem where the enterprises is actively automating internal processes such as selling, marketing, and financial and CRM and all sort of base platform. So this is sort of it is more or less automation. It's not than the transformation. So, but it provides the base platform which is required for the future transformation. So what are we doing in this one? You are trying to automate all the internal processes, and you have the leaders who demonstrate the transformational behaviors, and you have the strategy to execute the capabilities of what is required. What you are not doing is you don't have a digitally disruptive products available in your environment. Now, next category what we are looking at, or next level what we are looking at, is the bronze category. In this bronze category, what we're looking at is the organization should have the individual functions or the business to start with the disruptive technologies or the business models, which such as selling directly to the consumers, by using the mobile applications, website, web services, and they start using communities, surveys, and so on. So what are you doing right now in terms of to recognize you as a bronze category or level? You have looked at all three transformational possibilities, and then you have looked at, you have adopted the non-linear ideation process, and what are you doing in terms of digitization process? And here what we are also looking at, what are you not doing in terms of, there is no enterprise-wide strategy to completely transform your business model itself, and there is no adequate tracking system to track your customer journey, because when it comes to tracking the customer journey, where you have the isolations of or the pockets of solutions which has been implemented, where you don't have a adequate tracking mechanism to track the customer journey, we are almost impossible for you to measure the ROI. Most of your activities are, or the efforts are happening in silos. Next level, we are looking at the silver level. So when it comes to silver level, where the organization's leadership has recognized the disruptive power or the digital technology, and they have defined the linear progression with the unique customer experience for the digital future state. And then they are tracking all the decision points of the customer, and they are setting up adequate tracking of the grown up the level where they should be able to make that customer journey, like the email clicks and page browsed and purchase histories and so on. So you have that all in real-time information available online. You are started setting up the adequate tracking mechanism, and you have new operational realities which is coming in. What you don't have, which enterprise has not completed transforming digital backbone as their business model, and you also don't have the innovative culture become sustainable, and you are not winning perpetually with compared to your competitors. So that's the level we are classify into the silver category. Next is the gold category, which is the final one. Here we recognize the organization, they have the technical blueprint, schematic visualization for your the whole ecosystem or the platform, which is fully synchronized, and it makes the point where the enterprise's digital platform or the new business model has taken into the roots of the organization, where the human aspect of the organizations is still not experienced, because if you cover everything, that then it is not necessary for you to be apply only for this particular category, but you can go for a broader category. So this is why, if you really understand our framework, this omnichannel experience is part of digitized customer experience. Okay, so that's the gray area that I want to highlight here. If you are fully transformed, then you can look at it. However, still this activity, what you look at is you are fully explored creating a sort of an open ecosystem to generate large number of innovative use cases, and you can do that internally as well as externally. And you can also have your opening up your data via APIs, and where the external developers can build the platform or application on top of that. So these are the categories that we are looking at, or the levels that we are looking at. Now, finally, I would like to stop with by giving you the small context about how we do the judging process, because this is common across every speaker. So therefore, I'll take another 1 minute to just briefly cover that. Now to cover this, to assess an organization, to give a maturity stage where it is not possible for us to do it within 20 minutes, 30 minutes presentation. So it has to be in-depth analysis, data gathering is required. So what we have decided is we developed the framework, we have developed the assessment criteria and questionnaires has been prepared. And then based on each category, there has been several models. Now we have followed most closely with Cognizant framework, which and then we have customized it in such way that it can be localized to the Sri Lankan context. Then on top of that, how we are going to do this, we have looked at when it comes to omnichannel experience, we have looked at around 12 categories. Under that, there are sub questions being defined. We will be circulating this once you apply. You will receive it just before the deadline of your application, where you can answer to those questions or the survey. Based on that, we collect the information and we'll do the maturity assessment, and that will be passed to the judges. So we will put you into the buckets of these previously mentioned, this gold, silver, bronze, and the merit category based on the scoring that you have obtained through this online survey. So depends on that. There are a set of boundaries that have been defined for each level. So accordingly, you will be assessed and awards will be given to you all. So yeah, that's it about from my end. Please go through our website. We will be uploading the detailed video, because here within the short time frame I won't be able to cover everything, but I have covered the majority of the area. Shehan will give you the further detail. Over to you, Shehan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fairuz. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Fairuz Habib, the project chairman and also the president of the FITIS software chapter. Next, we have a very interesting speaker lined up. We have Ms. Jayomi Lokulena, co-founder and CEO of Z Messenger. Of course, Jayomi is not a stranger to us at all. She's the CEO of data-driven digital marketing company Z Messenger. She has played a pivotal role in shaping the digital marketing industry in the country. Jayomi has led digital marketing and campaign strategies for major brands, corporate enterprises, agencies, and social missions, covering over 2,000 plus campaigns, interacting with digital customers across diverse sections. So Jayomi will speak to you today on digital marketing strategy and assessment criteria. Over to you, Jayomi.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much. And welcome to all of you who are joining us today. As you heard, my name is Jayomi, and I'm delighted to talk about how we are going to assess your digital marketing strategy you have deployed in creating a differentiated digital consumer experience, actually that supports and creating an exponential growth in your organization. So as you may be already aware, recent Gartner research, actually I thought of quoting this, on consumer behavior revealed drastically different implications to the role of marketing that should play in a digital business transformation. So whether you are from B2C, B2B, or an hybrid organization joining us today, your company likely prioritizing the digital experience initiatives in 2021. And CMO especially will need to plan, orchestrate, and track their activities with a strong digital marketing focus, from balancing customer acquisition and retention to testing emerging technologies to drive personalization. So as even Fairuz said, we'll be really zooming in all these aspects in creating the next level of digital consumer experience of your organization. So in that context, where I overlook the digital marketing strategy, we would be looking at 4 key areas, which I kind of broken down for better comprehension. So the first focus area of our assessment will look at your marketing channels and campaign management. So let me just give a debrief on this. Basically, under this focus area, we would look at how you lead and scale multi-channel digital campaigns, and also the deployment of automated digital media bidding strategies and content optimization. And all the other aspect of the marketing channel and campaign management is how your sales and lead generation capabilities are improved. So under these three objective areas, we'll be assessing your marketing channels and campaign management, giving a due recognition to the context of multi-channel landscape, as well as the need for content customization and optimization as well. Secondly, the second focus area we would focus on, definitely the bigger, most talked about aspect when it comes to digital marketing, is the advertising, which is centered on owned, earned, and paid media. I'm sure these terms are very familiar to you. Your own media strategy, earned media, and the paid media. So under that, we'll be looking at what is your approach on targeting, measuring and optimizing messaging to the different channels that are available to a digital marketer or your organization. And also, not only that, your focus on organic search and improving your brand presence and focus beyond the big three networks, what we usually, most of the organization embark on, which is like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. But what is your focus beyond these three big networks as well? So that is the area of advertising. And the third area is definitely being FITIS. Of course, we can't talk without an entire 4.0 revolution without the deployment of smart technology, which is actually in marketing, we call it marketing technology. So our focus area when it comes to marketing technology is whether you are having right marketing technology to drive the effective marketing programs. So under this area, we would focus on basically how you capture all the touch points of customer that customer has with the brand, along with the digital footprints customer have left outside the organization. So that's a very important aspect that we have recognized. It's not only the touch points, also but your customers' footprints, digital footprints. How do you capture outside the organization? And then how do you plan, execute, and measure marketing campaigns? Thirdly, what technology you have deployed for marketing workflow automation to increase efficiency? Because we all know in this current context, and if you're talking about digitally transformed organization, it's not only your outside touch points that you are deploying technology, but also what kind of technologies you are using to enhance your efficiency or the marketing workflow automation that you are deploying. And then we'll look at how do you measure the success of your own marketing efforts, and also what measurements you are taking to increase your ROI. Because there's a greater focus of migrating most of the digital marketing efforts from outside agency to your in-house. So we would also look at what's your capabilities on that angle as well. And on this area of MarTech, the final point we are looking at is also the use of emerging technologies, such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, to align with your customer acquisition and retention goals. So we will look at your tech stack or what kind of investments you are planning to make on these emerging technologies as well. And the fourth aspect of the fourth focus area is also the digital performance benchmarks. How you use marketing benchmarks to maximize the impact of your digital efforts. Because as Fairuz, I think my previous speaker spoke about the efforts of Amazon or Alibaba. So basically, we are looking at, of course, how you compare your digital marketing performance relative to your competitors and also out of the category peers, because it's really imperative that we understand how we benchmark against not only the competitors, but also out of category peers who are doing a greater level of digital transformation to their businesses, and across key dimensions such as your site, your digital marketing channels, social media, and also path to purchase, which is these are very well thought aspects in terms of consumer journey, because digital marketing doesn't stop from creating awareness, but also bringing the business results to a company. And not only that, we also look at the best practices on variety of privacy regulation. While it's important that we harness the power of data to gather insights about customers, how do you play the privacy and related concerns when it comes to customer data? So we'll be giving a due focus on that. So under these 4 categories, as I mentioned, campaign and channel management, advertising across earned and paid media, your tech stack, basically MarTech, how you're deploying MarTech, and also your digital performance benchmarks. On these 4 criteria, we'll be assessing your digital marketing strategy, and the winners, as Fairuz said, will be awarded with merit, bronze, silver, and gold. And I really hope the winners of these categories are the ones actually who's knowing what good digital marketing looks like and how to succeed on evolving digital channels to prioritize future digital activities and investments that drive exponential organization transformation. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jayomi. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jayomi Lokulena, the CEO and co-founder of Z Messenger. Next, we have our next speaker online. That's going to be Dushi Thilaivasan. Dushi is the co-chairman of the Digital Transformation Awards. He's the founder and CEO of Silverleaf Technologies. Dushi is a multiple award-winning technology entrepreneur with over 25 years of industry experience. As a serial entrepreneur, Dushi has set up multiple businesses in the domains of digital advertising, digital payments, and digital enablement, including Z Messenger, Silverleaf Technology, and DH3 Solutions. So Dushi will speak to you on digitized products and services, business model innovation, and assessment criteria. Over to you, Dushi. Dushi, you need to unmute yourself.
Sorry. Hi, Shan. Thanks a lot for the introduction. And yeah, I'm Dushi. I'm just trying to share my slides. If it doesn't work, I'll just speak up, right? So my area here is to explain. My focus area will be on business model innovation, but let me actually start with what Feroz and Jayomi spoke earlier. So the intention of this award from FITIS is that we actually want to recognize the companies who are transforming from Industry 3.0 and to Industry 4.0. So we want to actually recognize and reward organizations who are successfully doing this. So that's the whole idea. One of the key dimensions, as Mr. Feroz mentioned earlier, was that the digitized products and services, right? So what we are looking at here is that in the present or the ensuing industrial revolution that we are walking into, products and services needs to actually get digitized in a form that they interact with their users, right? So we are talking about examples such as a toothbrush actually has interaction with the user, and it actually kind of informs the user how is his brushing practices and what is he doing right or what is he doing wrong. So we're talking about that sort of digitization, right? So basically we're talking about a product that can interact with its consumers, and where an organization actually can collect information and data about the product in use, and then actually augment the product or a service, as well as actually it helps the organization to come out with new business models and so on, right? So in this there are two areas. Ehanta is going to take up the product and service area. I'm going to actually talk about the business model innovation, which I'll go to next. So I'm sure all of you know what a business model is. So a business model is fundamentally how a company makes money. There are three fundamental components, three key components of a business model. We talk about value creation, value capture, and value proposition. So this three talks about how an organization is actually offering value in the value chain, how it creates a value and offers it to the consumer. And value proposition is about how what is the value proposition that the organization is offering, where the consumer is willing to pay for. And value capture is basically the idea of basically how the organization is actually generating revenue. So these are three main components, right? What we want to emphasize here is that business model innovation is not a product or service innovation. It encompasses these major three areas, right? And what we have done is we have actually broken down in the business model innovation the three main areas into subdimensions. So we have actually categorized the three main areas into 10 subdimensions. And the idea that what we want to measure is that we will be looking at what are the changes the organizations are making in the process of digitization to these 8 subdimensions or 10 subdimensions, right? So what we will be measuring how the 10 subdimensions have changed in the process of digitization. What we also need to understand is that the process of digitization is a process of discovery as well, right? So when an organization digitizes, it must encounter new business model, or it will encounter new areas of revenue generation and areas of customer interaction and so on, right? So it actually enables the organization to discover and create new business model as and when it progresses through the digitization process, right? So we would be looking at, as I said again, we looking at changes in these 10 dimensions. So an organization card can start with one of the sub dimensions and then slowly move on to adjust different. It's like adjusting different knobs and getting the right mix. So we will look at how much they have adjusted, how much they are doing it, and how much this new business model is enabling the organization to ensure continuous revenue from the customers. The whole idea is how it is ensuring continuous revenue from the product or service the organization is offering. We have actually done a video with much details of what this business model is, how we are looking at it, what are the components. I think it's on our website. We will have 4 categories: merit, bronze, gold, and silver. The measurement criteria, how we measure, will also be explained. It will be a self-assessment questionnaire. Plus, also we will do our own investigation to find out. So yeah, so that's about it on the business model innovation side. So again, so we will be doing a deeper study of how the organization actually works, how the organization has actually invented its new business model. So thank you, Sean. So that's from me.
All right, so thank you so much, Dushi, for that explanation. Guys, so while the presentations and the speeches are going on, remember, you can log on to our website, www.digitaltransformationawards.lk. So the website will have detailed videos and instructions on how you can apply the different criteria and how you will be assessed as well. So of course, since today is just a very short event, we will go into much more detail on those videos. So I think the full information that you require will be available on our website, www.digitaltransformationawards.lk. We will share the link on the chat right now. Also remember, if you have any questions, we have a Q&A segment at the end of our presentations this afternoon. You can send in your questions. I see a couple of questions already received. So please do send in your questions, your queries, and we will take it up during the Q&A session. All right, so next we have another very interesting speaker. We have Nuan Dias, who's the Vice President and Deputy CTO, API Management and Integration at WSO2. Nuan specializes in product management for enterprise software. He works across IT engineering, marketing, sales, and solutions architecture to build, evolve, and grow products. So Nuan will speak to you on connected products and services. Over to you, Nuan.
Welcome, guys. My name is Nuan Dias, and thank you for the introduction, Shan. So let me quickly give an introduction of this segment, connected products, and following me, Hanta will give an introduction into the assessment criteria in general. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to explain the importance of connected products and its role in digital transformation at a high level. So if you look at basically the history of IT over the past 5 decades or so, so we started off, like if you look at the 1960 to 80 period, we started off by using computing power to transform industries or organizations from paper-based processors into becoming paperless processors. And with the birth of the internet in 1983 or so, enterprises were able to collaborate across regions, across the globe, and integrate and collaborate for creating great pieces of software and other things. Now, if you look at the past 2 decades, the 2000 to 2020 period, this was the period where software basically started eating over the world, and we saw software being embedded in basically like everything from washing machines to refrigerators to cars to TVs to watches to you name it, right? So that was a period where software basically started eating over the world. Now, if you look at the next 20 years or the next period to come, so that is going to be the period where digital organizations are going to leverage a lot through collaboration by utilizing each other's services, both internally and externally. And the whole intention of this is going to be, of course, for providing better custom experiences, for generating new business models, as Dushi has been explaining, and so on, right? So let me take a few examples really quickly. So if you look at like 10 years ago from now, you may recall various news items that you may have seen where various automobile manufacturers had to recall their cars due to software glitches, right? And the reason for this is so car manufacturers, they embedded software into cars for, you know, various purposes for improving their performance, safety, and so on. But you know, like the connectivity of their software was not that great, right? So what happened was when there were serious issues, these manufacturers had to recall them, fix it, and then ship it back to the consumers. But if you look at the world we are living in today, like in today's world, the connectivity has improved significantly, right? So we see many auto manufacturers in the modern world supporting over-the-air updates. So our systems not just have software, but they also have connectivity. And what that has enabled is remote controllability, so that we don't have to, you know, recall everything that we ship for updates and fixes, right? Now, if you look at what's to come, now these are a couple of examples of Tesla. So we are stepping into a world where we will be able to utilize each other's services, both internally within the organization, like within departments and business units and so on, and also externally, other vendors or other service providers' capabilities to create enhanced custom experiences. So these are a couple of examples like that, where you see Tesla utilizing Baidu's navigation or map systems for giving an enhanced navigation experience for passengers in their cars. Similarly, they also plan to provide like Spotify services for giving enhanced entertainment experience for their customers. So as you can see here, so what's happening is basically Tesla is focusing on their business expertise, which is basically you know, producing electric cars. And at the same time, they are utilizing the best in the market capability of other systems like entertainment, navigation, and so on through collaboration. So this is basically what the world that we are going to stepping into enables. So these are just a few very basic examples. We see similar examples all over the place now. If you look at things like Amazon Alexa that you may be using in your homes, Google Home, and things like that, they utilize capabilities from different producers to provide enhanced custom experiences. So this is basically what connected products enable. They really give us a great new platform to be competing on, and as a result of this, organizations can now not just produce better enhanced custom experiences, but also come up with new business models, new revenue streams for the organizations as well. So just before I hand over to Hanta to explain the assessment criteria under this category, so this is a very high level overview of the assessment criteria. Fundamentally, what we hope to do is to do the assessment based on like the digital product strategy, the ability to execute on that strategy, and the ability to iterate and keep improving on that strategy. So thank you, and I would like to hand over to Hanta to complete the rest of the assessment criteria under this category. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nuwan. Thank you so much. Next, we move on to Ehanta, who will continue from Nuwan. Ehanta Sirisena is the Managing Director, Sri Lanka, and Director, Global Delivery for GoXPD. His responsibility currently spans across software development and delivery, and setting up an advanced technology center in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Ehanta is connecting with us today actually from Texas in the USA. I believe it's around 4:30 in the morning over there. So thank you so much, Ehanta, for being with us despite the very early hours. So Ehanta will continue from Nuwan and will talk to you about connected products and services assessment criteria. Over to you, Ehanta.
Yeah, thank you, Shahan. And yeah, it's been a pleasure being part of this journey. Thank you, Nuwan, for giving the introduction. So I've shared my LinkedIn link as well. So if you want to ever reach out, if there are any questions around the assessment framework or the connected product framework, please don't hesitate to do so. So looking at the connected product assessment model, right? So we will basically look at what your connected product strategy and roadmap is. So we would like to see like a short-term, medium-term, and a long-term roadmap on how your connected product and the strategy is going to map to your overall strategy, as well as how you would potentially evolve this product over time, and basically how that'll move forward. So essentially we will have around 7 different criteria that we are looking at. So we look at your product management processes, technical ownership and responsibility. I'll go into a little bit more detail in the next few slides, but then the project delivery responsibility and how your connected product is pretty much giving enough data and insights for you as a company to basically introduce that feedback loop in essentially improving services, customer service being the next thing that will be the customer service impact. And then of course the the new business models that come out of it. So I think Dushi touched upon it, and Nuwan too, is how do we really move more, how do we use the connected product framework to enhance new revenue streams, new business models in your for you and your company. So at a very high level, like I said, we will look at your strategy. We'll look at org structure, see how are you, do you have the right frameworks from a digitization perspective in place, things like that. And of course, all this will go into your different, levels from, bronze, silver, gold categories. And there'll be different, all of this will be based on a scoring system. And with that, we will essentially give you the rating. And like Dushi also mentioned, we will look at, we'll do our own investigations to understand how these work, etc. So we will also look at things like customer engagement. Have you got any customer feedback, and any other areas around that? From a product management process, we would have like, what is your basically your USP? What are you giving, critical, your customers critical differentiator? And of course the others. So like, everybody mentioned, you can get a more detailed view of it on our website. So I won't go into much detail, but I'll go through the key points on each framework, right? We are looking at technical architecture and your platform capabilities, about resilience. How's your architecture working? Is it scalable? Multiple criteria around that. Then of course project delivery. So project delivery being a key. I mean, are you looking at how do you pretty much do your project deliveries? Are you looking at a bi-weekly iterative delivery process, then ideation to go live timelines? So those are a few areas that we look at from a project delivery perspective. But I think a few of the key areas is going to be around data insights. How do your data capture process, your compliance, do you have, for example, GDPR level compliance, or do you have that in your roadmap? It doesn't have to be today that you have that. So it can be in the next few, iterations of your product. Then of course, business intelligence and dashboarding. I think that's a key part. I think that's essentially a very critical part for most companies at the moment. So that's an area that we will look at and see how are you, do you have the dynamic dashboarding and things like that. Customer service impact. Have you been measuring NPS using, by kind of evaluating the impact of your connected product? And then customer testimonials would be great. If you can submit a few, that will be fantastic. Will add a lot of value to your application. Then lastly, of course, we will look at the new business models. Have you been able to sell your data? Can you monetize it? Like Nuwan mentioned on for example the test on Tesla, right? can we use the Tesla, or like a similar example, can that data be used to sell to insurance companies on your driving style, on, and then can that lead to basically different business models? So you have your primary and then your secondary, of where you're monetizing your data. So these are the few things that you may not have it today, but you may have that in your plan, and that can also be taken in into the evaluation criteria. So I think that gives a quick high-level summary of how we would be evaluating the connected product ecosystem and experience for each company. So I will hand back to Shehan, and thank you everybody for joining the session today.
Thanks, Ehant. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are getting a little bit of clarity on how to apply, what are the criteria, and etc. So we have quite a few more sessions to go, because there are different categories, right? So what our speakers have been doing all this time, they have been explaining the different categories and how you will be assessed. Of course, you can get more information through our website. It's shared on the chat right now, www.digitaltransformationawards.lk. Well, at this moment, we would like to welcome on board our silver partners, LifeRay and Silverleaf. So they are joining us as silver partners for the Digital Excellence Awards and Conclave. So our sponsor is an 11-time leader in Gartner Magic Quadrant for digital experience platforms. And through the strategic technology partnership with Silverleaf Technology, LifeRay helps organizations solve digital challenges with omni-channel intranet, portal, e-commerce, and integration solutions to maximize digital interactions between the customer and organization. So we are really proud to have LifeRay and Silverleaf as the silver partners for the Digital Excellence Awards. So yeah, so we have a small video as well, and you can just have a quick glimpse of what LifeRay and Silverleaf offers us, right? So if you can have the video right now, it'd be great.
In today's world, customers expect to be known and valued through highly personalized service. Businesses need to adapt more quickly than ever before to meet these constantly evolving demands. To do so, industries around the world are looking for software solutions that solve these needs quickly and efficiently. LifeRay Digital Experience Platform is an enterprise software tailored for you and your organization's needs.
LifeRay DXP allows you to create portals, intranets, extranets, websites, and integrate with other systems to build connected experiences all on a single platform. LifeRay DXP is designed to help companies meet modern demands, meeting the unique needs of your employees and customers by providing powerful out-of-the-box features. Integrate, organize, and manage users and permissions. Share information across your users and organizations using built-in features such as blogs, message boards, and notifications.
Use forms and create workflows for user management and self-service, both of which can be built and automated with a simple drag-and-drop interface. Easily create, then iterate your web pages, leveraging LifeRay's auto-versioning and staging features.
In addition, achieve high-level security with enterprise security practices and protocols, and easily create GDPR-compliant applications. This helps your organization simplify the creation of secure, tailored solutions that will be relevant for many years to come.
Solutions built on LifeRay DXP can be deployed on-premises or on the cloud, with cloud support ready to go out of the box. Everything built on LifeRay DXP automatically adjusts to fit any device with the ability to create native mobile applications.
With easy scalability, companies can use LifeRay DXP to expand and replicate systems to match growing needs, using ready-to-use pre-built modules. It's built with technology standards that ensure compatibility with your development stack and your team's skills.
Join the many organizations around the world that use LifeRay DXP to improve their business processes, efficiency, and experiences to rapidly react to shifting customer demands and new advancements in technology. See what LifeRay DXP can do for you and become a leader in your industry.
Right, so let's move on to our next segment. We have once again Mr. Fairuz Habib, the president of the FITIS software chapter, who is also the project chairman. And he will talk to you about digitized operation, customer-centric process automation, and the assessment criteria. Over to you, Fairuz.
Thank you, Shehan. Let me share my screen. Okay. Thank you, and thank you once again taking me in. As I mentioned before, as well as Dushi and then the rest of the speakers, now that we have another major segment which is called digitized operation. Now, under this digitized operation, what you look at was that how do you automate the operational processes, which makes organizations cost effective, and you bring in that agility as the essential characteristics for an organization to how you bring in that uncertainty of changes in the competitive environment and the changing the business environment that obligates, and how the organizations act faster to those changes or obligations which is coming up. So we are actually currently facing that sort of environment. And this is more towards how we look at the data-driven business approach, how the organizations are treating their assets and so on. So here is the main objective of this digitized operations. As you can see, I'm going to cover the customer-centric process automation portion of it here. On this customer-centric process automation, what kind of methodologies that the organizations or the customer-centric process automation, where the organizations are, how they're using the automation technology to systematically automate the business processes, and how they improve the operations, and then they guide the workforce efforts, and by the way, they're creating the customer experience through that automation process. Okay, so when it comes to expectation, where as a organization, when we start off with the whole process of digitization, what will happen if we start with the SMAC-Tech enabled organizations, where the SMAC-Tech, which is mainly talking about social media, mobile analytics, and the cloud engagement that has come to every single organization today. So in today, there is no organizations which is exceptional today without having this SMAC-Tech policy. So how an organizations are moving towards this cloud strategy, and that of course becoming fundamental for every organization. And here what we are looking at, what sort of SMAC-Techs necessary to enable the operational efficiency that has taken into the different angle itself in an organization, in order to ensure that this business processes are completed in time. We need to automate and orchestrate those applications behind the scene to ensure that the data sources are orchestrated. And these mostly the third and most important part what we're talking about here, which is that we need to ensure these processes and the efforts that we are building are to support that automation system, which is important for us to take care of a time-based and event-based situational dependencies. And if you don't account for those dependencies that exist between these applications, then there is no way of visibility into those applications that actually are the baseline for completion of these successful changes. Now, one last thing I would like to cover, where the customer-centric automation, which envisages that you have the centralized control, and then you have the system-made automation process. This is part of your what we call the island of automation, where the automation is just taking part of your ecosystem not the organization wise executing where the entire context of the organization. So when you look around this customer centric process automation, there is a context built around this MaxTech changes methodology, which those sort of organizations, they interact with the aspect of its customers, how the processes need to be automated and how the process efficiencies are built into those processes and so on. Next, how we look at this in order to bring this automation into the picture, we set this expectation. They are present with the respect of the process automation. When you look at the process automation, it is systems. We usually look at the consistency and the visibility across every single organization, every single aspect of these areas. So that means that what we are going to figure out is whether you are using a standard, preferably good graphical interfaces, and you have a faster process of deployment, and then you have the proper programming interfaces, and then it is about error detection, as well as how do you obviously there is no system that you can drive in principle, or any of the automation system that is ensure the efficiencies are built in, right? So the last part what you look at here, where the most important, how do we gain that mean time to recover from the failures. Now I also want to touch about some of the small other areas what I wanted to touch about here, where I couldn't touch about SLAs, right? So the SLA improvement, where which is how this business processes there is no business exists in any organization that does not adhere to the SLA principles. Now, it is important for us to understand the business processes do not fall under the SLA's criteria. Then generally it is not constituted as a critical business processes. So when you need a SLA to monitor these business processes, then you bring in that efficiency in that improved scale. Okay. So one another point that we wanted to look at here, where how do you bring in that automation where you eliminate the L1 and L2 task, and how do you automate those L1 and L2 tasks so that your team or your employees should be able to work more towards the cognitive works rather than working on those troubleshooting and day-to-day operations, right? And when you look at the certain criteria out here, there are factors which is specifically shown here, and these are help kind of you. What you see over here are the how do you gain that efficiency out here? Okay. Now let's move on to judging process. When it comes to judging process, what we look at is how we can ensure that we are adhering to the automation principles. One criteria is a vision. Now, when it comes to vision, how do you apply the technology into the underpinning of every successful company, and how do you drive that every business functions spanning across the customer relations? And then this sort of business functions and the people management, where you move towards the autonomous digital enterprise, rather than you either you want to move towards autonomous digital enterprise, or you wanted to move towards the digital enterprise, or still you wanted to be in that partially automated organization. So this autonomous digital enterprise concept, which comprises of intelligence, and also it has the interconnected technology-based enabled value creation systems, which will help you operate in a minimum human involvement across every part of the organizations. And when we extend this, when we look at the extent of automation over here, this automation from the purview of manual and ad hoc specific institutionalization. Next, which is the operational efficiency. When you look at that operational efficiency, which is significantly, it reduces the IT resources required to maintain the scripting, coding, and sequence scheduling. And when you look at the error remediation process, when you synchronize these processes, you keep the business users where you set the application that is owned by them itself. So when you relocating the existing IT resources to the other value added services, like you can have those resources being retained for the value added services rather than you put them into the operational services. The fourth aspect, which is risk assessment, where how you significantly remove the manual overrun, and then which is caused by the manual risk practices and remediation process. So I will cover that part into the detail about how we assess it. The final last part, which is the ownership. When it comes to ownership, how the ability of the self-service, how you build that self-service dashboards to manage and control your applications, and this way you can easily pick up the number of tickets from each business sector is clearly indicating on the business sector wise, and it is most importantly, how do you get it to the right team without passing into the several levels. Now, as an assessment criteria, what we look at here, this is based on the levels we are going to recognize the organizations, right? When we start with the vision, how we can judge which we can assess an organization using this framework. The vision is a very broad concept that you're talking about here, but we really wanted what the thoughts process around the organizations are at this point in time. Some may be in the startup mode, some may be in the sustenance mode. That's why we want to understand the vision, and then we classify them into the 4 levels. Is whether you wanted to be autonomous, or you wanted to be a digital enterprise, or semi-automation, or the partial automation. So here we go for extent where how do you do this institutionalized, where everyone in this ecosystem has been addressed, or you build something like a self-learning system, right? How do you bring in that operational efficiency, where how much of reduction of IT resources to continue the day-to-day activities that you are making on a daily basis, and how do you perform those value-added services? And those are the areas which has been discussed. And also, how do you measure the depend on the ratio that you have in terms of level 3 staff performing in the activities. Now, if the level 3 staff, if the large efficiency gain as L3 staff can deploy into the value-added business, but if they are into moderate level, then you put then you are not optimized fully. So therefore, that's the level we are looking at. Now, when you look at the merit category, they will fall into the ad hoc basis. Yeah, most of the time they will be involving as and when required. Third part, which is application integration. Application integration. It is a very important aspect of automation, of customer-centric process automation, where all these business processes are always multiples of application which is actually interact with each other. So these application integration is built in where all these applications can communicate easily with each other to set the gold standard. So when you are looking at gold standard, where the application methodology where you use this API based integration. And then if you have any any people, let's say 10 applications, which one of the application don't have the API, where your old methodologies, where the when you reach, then you have one application which is still on the old school methodology, where you get into the deadlock situation where somebody need to manually come and enter some of the work to make it automatic. So this way you will never get the process across enterprise to get into the fully automated environment. So if all your applications and API based, all the integrated adopted based on the based on if all the applications are connected through the APIs, then you are setting up the gold standard. Next, so here the assessment is done based on the level of integration. Next is the error remediation. If you look at where now we are talking about the cognitive automation. It's all about know your database. It's all about see how you're handling with your known errors, and how do you handle this auto remediations and all that. So when you are dealing with that, what will happen if you have a system which automatically fix the issue, the remediation happens automatically. You don't need to get involved. So that is the stage where the gold standard which has been set. But second, silver level, where you know the issues, which the known errors are managed, but it is not continuous update. So you have to work reactively. So you are being reported and then you are trying to remediate. Third level, where you raise the error or known error ticket, and then you try to identify root cause, and then you have a process, but you try to work on it. Fourth level, where everything happens manually. You need to appoint someone to come and investigate it, some auditor to come and investigate it, and then you follow the process to remediate that. But if you even don't have any sort of mechanism to how you follow that process, then of course you are not qualifying to be in that competition. Last part, which is the ownership. When it comes to ownership, we look at that how much control in your business users on to control the business processes itself. Right? They can manage their own set of business model processes, and it is generally happen in an ad hoc system where everything goes into the operational systems. So here also we look at the ability of the business owners to manage and monitor their own operation, and here where they get everything to be notified, and then here the second level, which is silver level, where some owners manage the application on their own for the rest of the ticket to operate or pass it to the operational team, so on. So the detailed analysis, of course, will be done later, because we don't have time and luxury to cover everything within a very short period of time. But I hope that this will give you the high level expectation in terms of what do we expect and what all other levels have been defined, and how we are going to assess it. Yeah, that's it from my end in terms of this. Further clarification, please go to our website. We will upload the full contents where you should be able to gain much more knowledge about it. Thank you very much. Over to you, Shiv.
Thank you so much, Fairuz. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Fairuz Habib, the project chairman of the Digital Excellence Awards 2021. All right, so next we have Dr. Danushka Mihiga-Awatta, who's the head of enterprise product of Dialog Asiata PLC. Danushka will talk to you about agile operation. Over to you, Dr. Danushka.
Thank you. So I'll kind of quickly run through. Good afternoon, everyone. So the agile operations section really kind of stems from, if you look at the evolution of industry and business over the last so many decades. There was a time where in the past, organizations knew what they were doing and how to do it. And it was about driving efficiency and trying to get the most out of your workforce or your resources. More recently, things have been changing. The rate of change is increasing. And while we still know what we need to do, how we do it is constantly kind of, we're having newer options. We have digital technologies or new technology in general, automation as far as mechanical, electronic and software systems constantly change. And the best way to solve a problem is starting to evolve. So currently it's about digitalization, and leveraging on the sort of automation and mechanization of past decades. And in the future, who knows, right? There are unknown problems and unknown ways of solving them coming up constantly. So when in this sort of climate, one thing which is kind of getting more and more obvious and clear is things are always changing. The competition is changing, the business models, as we mentioned earlier, our customers, and the technology that we have at our disposal. Even things like COVID has forced us to change in ways that we couldn't comprehend a couple of years ago. And this change that we talk about in the most generic fashion is changing faster than before as well. So not only is the amount of change changing, the actual rate at which it's changing is also going up. So for us to manage in an organization, stay competitive, the way a modern organization and a future organization meets these challenges will have to be through agility. It's through not only having the kind of robust processes and systems that we have talked about in place, but you need to have an organization that's able to adapt and change to constantly kind of changing demands. So I would like to kind of think of it as if you think of your organization and the whatever you make as the water running in the pipes, and your processes, your systems are the pipe work. You need a workforce and you need an organizational mindset that's able to change the pipes when and as and when it's needed. We can't have this sort of static system that has to be in a certain way. So this award category really is looking at trying to understand and gauge how agile is your organization overall. Is it in certain places where it's more agile than and not, and where is it agile where it matters? So when it comes to your leadership, how the senior management sees how problems are solved, how the people and the culture and also the tools and the systems that you have in place, how does that support this agility that we keep kind of talking about? And this has to also be looked at across, not just from the technical or the operations perspective, but it needs to start from planning and business and flow, be aware everywhere. So it's looking at kind of a digital and agile organization at its core, rather than people doing the old thing using new tools. We're looking at people, organization that's using the new tools as they were sort of intended to get the maximum out of the people and the processes that we have in place. So specifically, we'll be looking at what type of tools, what type of processes the operational layers use, also what type of visibility the different components have and how empowered they are to make decisions. Do you, for example, are there small groups of people making and owning decisions, or does everything have to flow up 3 levels to get a sign off for a team to operationalize and move? So trying to understand the situation when it comes to those kind of fine points is what we'll be evaluating and looking at in the agile operations side to gauge how truly agile and where in the roadmap of agility a business falls. So that's me. I've kept it kind of quick. there'll be more information becoming available on the website, and hopefully that'll kind of give everybody more information and details soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Danushka. Thank you so much for that presentation. All right, so next we have Mr. Danusha Muthukumarana, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Potenza. Right, so Danusha is a award-winning innovator, entrepreneur, digital transformation thought leader, enterprise architect, and Forbes Technology Council member. He has been helping clients overcome business constraints, improve performance, and he has been helping to create a sustainable competitive advantage over the last many years, right? So Danusha will talk to you about digitized operation. Over to you, Danusha.
Thank you very much, Shehan. Thank you very much. So I'm going to talk about workforce enablement. So let's look at where my slides have changed, right, Shehan? Behind the.
Yes, they have.
OK, fine. So if you look at the 4 pillars, so there's the last pillar is digitized organization. So under digitized organization, there are 2 main elements of it. So one is the workforce enablement, and then the other is connected partner ecosystem. So my topic would be predominantly to cover workforce enablement. So let's look at the what and why of workforce enablement. So what we expect organizations who are applying for the awards to actually, the mechanism that we have built is pushing these organizations to really get out of their comfort zones and not being complacent in terms of their current status of affairs, and also drive digital, right? So why do as FITIS, why do we want organizations to drive digitization within these organizations is actually to build more capabilities, right? So end of the day, why we do all these, why we have all these initiatives is to encourage organizations to increase or grow their capabilities, right? So capabilities can be improved in 2 different ways. One is like you can grow them incrementally, or you can look at growing them exponentially. So the focus here at FITIS Digital Excellence Awards is to recognize organizations and also guide organizations who may have not embarked on this journey to move fast and convert themselves to exponential organizations through the adoption of digital. And the topic I'm going to cover today is purely targeting the core of that, which is the workforce enablement. Shahan, sorry, I'm just double checking my slides are moving, right?
Yes.
OK, fine. So if you look at, there are 4 pillars. The last one, we talk about digitized organization, where we talk about a digital workforce and also the connected ecosystem. So let me explain about digital workforce and enablement. So if you look at the today's workforce or the future workforce, right, it's going to change. And organizations always need to keep in mind that what got us here will not get us there. So the context is that we may not be able to apply some of the thinking, some of the tools or the techniques that we apply to solve yesterday's problems to solve today's problems or the problems coming in the future. So as Dr. Danushka also mentioned, that bringing in agility is very important, and agility is also directly linked with the organization and also the enablement of the workforce. Why we want to enable the workforce is to enable them and also make them participate in the transformation process, because the future workforce is not only going to be human, it's going to be a human digital collaboration, or we call it human bot collaboration. So you would have hybrid workforces working in organizations hand in hand. So that is what is covered under the workforce element. And then we have connected partner ecosystems where firms would, instead of trying to create all points of the value chain, firms would look at ways of collaborating and connecting to create value in a connected fashion or in a collaborative fashion, where they will be able to bring in onboard capabilities faster than, without trying to reinvent the whole wheel. So let's look at what workforce enablement is. Workforce enablement is actually, it's an organization-wide, it has to be organization-wide, it has to be comprehensive and inclusive for digital transformation to take place. Why we say it's inclusive, it has to cover the digital aspect of things and also human aspect of things, because whatever the transformation that we go through is actually needs to be supported by humans, because if you take any organization, it's the human is at the core of the organization. So their buying in is very important and their participation is very important. So any type of workforce enablement needs to be more inclusive and also comprehensive. And also we need organizations to have conscious formulation of strategy and execution plans for workforce enablement. It's not just saying, fine, we're gonna say adopt digital tech, something similar, say robotics, process automation, or straight through processing or other tech. But at the end of the day, it's not just onboarding tech, because tech will onboard functionality. But what we need for organizations is not just functionality. We need organizations to have capabilities. So functionality will support capabilities, and in a way that you need to have inclusive or like consciously formulate strategies in achieving this. So that's one of the areas that we would encourage all the participating organizations to have. And then workforce enablement, if you really look at carefully, actually has two elements to it. So we need to be very careful of this. We are not talking only about digital workforce. We are talking about digitally enabled upskilling and reskilling of human workforce has to be part of the strategy, has to be part of the plan, right? And also introduction of digital workforce is also mandatory. So say, for example, if an organization is applying under this category, say we have enabled workforce for digital transformation. It's not about using tools only to enable humans, but an organization also need to demonstrate that they're using digital workforce as well within the organization to execute some of the repetitive mundane tasks. So it's not just digital, it's a human and digital combination. And also something very important, any participating organization in the awards need to have a defined and also a well communicated set of principles around workforce enablement, because it's very important. For example, organization adopt certain principles like if someone gets redundant, an existing employee gets redundant due to automation, we are not going to kick them out of the organization. We are going to reskill them or upskill them or move them to cognitive, related tasks. So those are set of principles that you need to define at a program level when it comes to organization-wide digital transformation, because without that, you will not create a safe environment for humans to participate and to be creative in the transformation process. And also purposeful encouragement of human and digital collaboration would help organization to fast track digital transformation. So we need to, you need to demonstrate that you are actually consciously picking and having this conversation of human digital collaboration. I hope we are giving you more clarity, but you have access to all this content to take it to the next level. So we've actually built a maturity model. So the maturity model actually covers 4 stages. So if you really look at the x-axis, talking about doing execution, starting with that and moving towards thinking, which is more cognitive. And also if you look at the y-axis where the growth is happening, say for example, we're looking at workforce capability. The whole intention is digital infused workforce capability maturity through this award under this category. So you would find organizations falling under initiate level, meaning they have thought of strategies, they have plans, and they have started, actioning these plans, showing progress. So that's the initial level that an organization will fall into. We'll have criteria defined. And then when you go to that, when you move on further, you would move into adopting stage where you start looking at, now you have the strategy, you have the roadmap, you have the tech. Now it's more of like, what organization-wide processes or capabilities that we are going to improve by adopting these people, process and technology, right, to drive capability. And then you go to the next level which is leverage. So at leverage stage, what happens is you're looking at encouraging organizations to leverage existing resources, existing assets, for example, data assets. So at this point in time, at this stage, at leverage stage, we need to have organizations demonstrating the use of tech such as machine learning, say artificial intelligence, to be very specific, at least statistical models being used for prescriptive and predictive, or machine learning models being used for prescriptive and predictive kind of cognitive capabilities, and also automation is being used to action them. So that is a kind of a more matured level. And then the last stage that we have defined is thrive. So thrive is where you have the tech, you have the people, you have the processes, and combining all these three together with innovation fueling this, that you have higher organization-wide capability. For example, how much time you consume to create a new product or a service in your organization with the use of human as well as digital tech. So that's the level that we want. Actually, if you look at all Sri Lankan organizations to move that particular position, if you see when you move up, you will be able to create higher value with lesser inputs, because if you really look at the inputs that we have as a small country, we have challenges in terms of finding human resources and other resources. So resources are scarce. So what you need to do is you need to create maximum out of what you already have. So you need to drive capability maturity in your organization. I hope it's clear up to now. So the scoring elements we looked at, I have a few more slides. We're looking at vision and enablers. So any organization participating under this category need to have a defined vision and principles for digital workforce and digital enabled workforce, that is humans. Define organizational goals to drive workforce enablement for digital transformation. You need to have the what and the whys defined clearly, because that will have buying in, that will have sponsorships coming in. It won't be another project run by one department or tech. And also in the process, define stakeholders, support and facilitation mechanisms also to be understood and also published within the organization for sustainability. Otherwise, these initiatives will not last long. And also define and communicate upskilling, reskilling plans for employees at all levels who are affected due to transformation, because this is the only way of assuring and enabling creativity among the participants within your organization. And then we move into tools and processes. There's some point in time you need to adopt, say adaptation of defined processes for process and task evaluation, selection of automation and evidence of maintenance capability, automation backlog. So you need to consciously understand what capabilities I lack in my organization and what capabilities we are going to enable through digitalization. So that kind of backlog you need to have, which actually is being evaluated continuously by business stakeholders, and you continue to create those or enable those capabilities through infusion of digital. At the end of the day, you need to create value. And also availability of a defined roadmap, which includes the what and why and the how of workforce enablement. This also need to cover what are your plans in terms of reskilling and upskilling. I'm reiterating it because it's really important. And also evaluated and adopted platforms and tools and technologies and best practice methods. We expect organizations to consume best practice methodologies and also better tools, because we're not talking about reinventing the whole wheel. Because if you want to convert your organization to an exponential organization, it cannot take 10 years. It has to happen within a shorter time frame. So meaning you have less time to think of building your own tools probably, but leverage and grow. Evidence of continuous improvement activities in automated processes, eliminate interruptions due to exceptions. So that is also important. We need to have evidence that you have a continuous improvement mechanism built into your capability improvement program. Identification and participation of business sponsors for respect to digital workforce projects from relevant business units is also a key, because it cannot be a technology-driven engagement. So these are the things that I want to share. So we also have defined, you'll have access to these criterion in our website. So what we have done is we have created 4 stages. We have merit, bronze, silver, and gold. So what we are doing is we are pushing Sri Lankan organizations to move up in the value chain, right? Have more mature capability as you move along the way. And so that's it. And we would have more sessions and more engagements coming in. If you have any areas that you need, if you have any areas you need clarity, you can actually throw the questions at us. And I would like to pass the presentation to Irfan, who will be taking you through the connected partner ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you, Danusha. All right, so we are here to the final presentation for the day. Then we have a quick Q&A. I think we have gone over time as well. So I would like to quickly invite Mr. Ahmed Irfan, Chief Digital Officer of Export Freight Limited. He will talk about connected partner ecosystem and assessment criteria. Over to you, Ahmed.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Shahan, for the intro. So in the interest of time, just walk you through a summarized version of our thought process in putting this module together. So I think what Danushka and all the esteemed speakers who went before me are alluding to is the fact that as an industry, we are moving from version 3.0 to 4.0. In a global context as well as a local context, for us today, we are faced with unprecedented change. And we can't do things the way we used to do them. I think what's imperative for any business is the ability to scale, the ability to still retain agility, but more than anything to also be able to do that sustainably. So a component of competitive advantage in building a digital organization is essentially an ecosystem, which is why we felt within the digital organization track, it would be important to recognize the importance of building an ecosystem, maintaining it, and leveraging it for business advantage. So why an ecosystem? I think today organizations are looking at scaling, looking at agility, looking at building competitive advantage. It's harder to do it all on your own. I think competitive frameworks are getting redefined, value creation is getting redefined, collaboration is reaching new heights, and essentially organizations need to move from centralized value creation, which is doing it all yourself, to having a far more decentralized approach to value capture, value creation, as well as creating a value proposition, alluding to Dushi's presentation. So essentially being able to collaborate with your suppliers, your tech partners, it can be your content creators if it's digital marketing. So essentially building a larger network to create, capture, and deliver value is why we feel looking at connected partner ecosystems is going to be very important as part of the digital organization. So what's the expectation from an ecosystem? This is what we'll be looking for. The detailed version of these slides and a recording is going to be available on our website for you to view at leisure. Just wanted to highlight these key factors. The expectation from an ecosystem, is essentially to remain competitive. We can't define value the way we used to. Value creation can't take too long. So how do we remain competitive? It's by essentially existing or extending our ecosystem. 6 of the most valuable companies in the world today are looking at growing only by extending their ecosystem and opening things up. Which brings me to the second point, is how do you extend your value chain? I work in a freight forwarding organization, but to us today, extending our value chain is extending data, extending with and working with partners beyond just the freight industry. So it's the same for any organization. I think no organization is just singularly within that industry. Most organizations are mashing up with different industries, and therefore the ability to extend the value chain is going to be very important. An ecosystem is about remaining relevant. Consumer expectation and consumer values are changing. Therefore, the ability to create direct relationships is also going to be very important. Ecosystems help us do that. We see and hear of companies who are now going direct to customer or direct to consumer by leveraging ecosystems. Ecosystems also should help us ideally drive faster and better innovation. Like I said earlier, we can't do everything ourselves. Companies are practicing open innovation, and being able to demonstrate some evidence of that is going to be important as part of your submission. And then obviously, a good ecosystem should be able to enhance internal value creation within the organization as well, in terms of knowledge, aptitude, competencies, as well as capabilities. So scoring criteria that will go into consideration is, as part of the digital organization, building your ecosystem would need to be governed by either a transformation agenda or roadmap, or at least an impact map. Building an ecosystem doesn't mean we integrate with all and sundry. It has to be as part of a carefully thought through strategy of how the organization wants to evolve and grow, and to what extent it wants to build its ecosystem. So visibility to a strategy is going to be key. The role of part of that strategy needs to define a clear integration, automation, and stakeholder management strategy, and with due consideration to creating a better extended customer experience. Ecosystems today also give us the ability to leverage data better than ever before. So do we have a data strategy that will help us manage that? Do we have a view to blending and using that data, creating richer insights, and are those richer insights creating better business impact? Connected ecosystems is also about complexity. When partners come together, it's different cultures, different mindsets, different capabilities, and different ways of doing things. So is there due consideration given to stakeholder management, to change management, and managing the complexity within? So the assessment matrix is being again defined like in the other categories across merit, bronze, silver, and gold. I won't talk to the whole thing. Just to quickly explain how the assessment will work, it works across 6 key areas. So firstly, we will be looking at your strategy, a link to the strategy and how the strategy will evolve into driving an ecosystem that's a lot more holistic. Ecosystems are about openness. So how open or closed are you, and is that open innovation driving transformation within the organization? Quality of participants, participation, asset clarity, asset usage, security in the partnership is something we will look at. Managing relationships, whether it's vendor, supplier, partner, is there clear governance and control? Is there a partner management strategy? Is there a clear idea to creating, sharing data and information insights is all part of looking at the relationship aspect. Value creation should ideally not be a single dimension. It should not only be for customer or market. Business model would need to reflect how value creation travels across the ecosystem. And lastly, complexity. In this space, if you're really looking at, you can't afford not to have a view to complexity. So good stakeholder management, change management, from a transformative aspect is also going to be something that we will be looking at. So that's just a very quick introduction on how connected partner ecosystems is going to work. There's more information on our website, including a recorded video explaining these criteria in more detail. Thank you very much for having us today, and we look forward to your participation, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Irfan. All right, so we will once again move on to a sponsor video. So we have LifeRay and Silver Leap joining us as our silver partner for the Digital Excellence Awards. Before we move on to the Q&A, we have quite a few questions to be taken up. We'll quickly have a look at our sponsor video.
In today's world, customers expect to be known and valued through highly personalized service. Businesses need to adapt more quickly than ever before to meet these constantly evolving demands. To do so, industries around the world are looking for software solutions that solve these needs quickly and efficiently. LifeRay Digital Experience Platform is an enterprise software tailored for you and your organization's needs.
LifeRay DXP allows you to create portals, intranets, extranets, websites, and integrate with other systems to build connected experiences all on a single platform. LifeRay DXP is designed to help companies meet modern demands, meeting the unique needs of your employees and customers by providing powerful out-of-the-box features. Integrate, organize, and manage users and permissions. Share information across your users and organizations using built-in features such as blogs, message boards, and notifications.
Use forms and create workflows for user management and self-service, both of which can be built and automated with a simple drag-and-drop interface. Easily create, then iterate your web pages, leveraging LifeRay's auto-versioning and staging features.
In addition, achieve high-level security with enterprise security practices and protocols, and easily create GDPR-compliant applications. This helps your organization simplify the creation of secure, tailored solutions that will be relevant for many years to come.
Solutions built on LifeRay DXP can be deployed on-premises or on the cloud, with cloud support ready to go out of the box. Everything built on LifeRay DXP automatically adjusts to fit any device with the ability to create native mobile applications.
With easy scalability, companies can use LifeRay DXP to expand and replicate systems to match growing needs, using ready-to-use pre-built modules. It's built with technology standards that ensure compatibility with your development stack and your team's skills.
Join the many organizations around the world that use LifeRay DXP to improve their business processes, efficiency, and experiences to rapidly react to shifting customer demands and new advancements in technology. See what LifeRay DXP can do for you and become a leader in your industry.
All right, so we will quickly move on to our Q&A session, right? So basically about 70 minutes over time, we'll quickly move on. So we have a question, I will put it out to the panel. Let's see who can pick this up. Can an organization apply for an award while implementing digital strategy without it being implemented?
Actually, you can't. We would like to see the transformation. So in the process, no, we would not be. Okay, so it depends on the type of transformation you're talking about. Maybe they can actually score depending on the category they're applying. We may be able to give them some recognition, but ideally we want the companies to show real progress.
Right. Okay. So there's a question.
Just add that if the strategy is on paper, we may not be able to offer them.
So there are a couple of questions. Are there any eligibility requirements? So I think we discussed the eligibility requirements. For more details, you can visit our website www.digitaltransformationawards.lk. When is the deadline for submissions? Is the next question.
The deadline up now we are given that August 21st, but we will consider positively when there is a request from most people. But as of now, it is August 3rd week.
Yes, so 21st August, you have exactly 1 month, guys, to submit your applications. Okay, we take up the next question quickly. Hi, we are an agency based in Sri Lanka, but we are handling a few clients overseas. Can we apply too? Tanusha?
So basically, when we so Dushi and FITIS also can add. So here we're looking at this year. We're looking at only implementations at client side. So if you, for example, if you are a tech company who's implementing solutions, you can't apply, but the company can apply saying that we have implemented this technology which has given us this edge. It could be CRM related, it could be capability related, it could be anywhere. But so if you are a tech service company, you can't apply. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dushi and FITIS. The customer can definitely apply if they fall under the qualifying criteria.
The question here is that whether if the agency is not a Sri Lankan organization, the challenge here this year we are focusing only on Sri Lanka, right? I don't think we are focusing on Sri Lanka this year, but we would consider expanding regional participants from next year onwards, right? That's what we had in mind.
So here the competition is for the organizations, the customers, not for the technology enablers. So if you are an enabler, you cannot apply for it.
Okay, thank you. Right, so we have another question. Would you be able to upload a complete list of requirements for each criteria to your website. Yes, it will be on our website. When it comes to evaluation criteria, what are the capabilities to define the most appropriate technology?
So this is not a technology. This is not about technology. This is about transformation of the organization. The end organization. It's about the transformation. So we are not actually. While we may consider technology as a component, but we are looking at the transformation process, right? So we will not give, we will give only little weightage for the technology usage. We are looking at the transformation process. I think that's the answer for this question. We can't focus on technology.
Right. Thanks, Dushi. So the next company, we are a software company. When it comes to workforce enablement, does it mean the workforce enablement within our own organization, or how we support our customers' workforce enablement through our solutions?
The answer is, if you are a software company and if you want to apply for workforce, if you are applying in under the category, we can accept that. But we are ideally looking at the end user. So if you are an end user itself, well, fine, you can apply. We will not say no for that.
Say, for example, you have implemented technology for your organization to improve. So that is yes. But if it is for a project you have done for someone else, that as a tech provider, no, because we are not actually looking at tech providers. We're looking at where the value is getting created. So the beneficiary of the value which is getting created is an organization. That end organization is the one who need to apply for it.
All right. So I think we have taken up all the questions that were pertinent and posed to us. So guys, once again, thank you for joining with us. I would like to thank all our participants for making it today. Thank you so much to all our speakers as well for taking your time and being with us. So more information is available on our website, www.digitaltransformationawards.lk. So as I said before, one more month to go. Let's go for the gold. All right. So until we meet again, take care. Stay safe.